it's a Friday, which means it's time for our weekly feature, Techbase. Tonight we're looking at the future of free speech on the internet. Yesterday, Twitter permanently banned right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones for abusive behavior. Now, he had tweeted a video of himself heckling a CNN reporter. This is just one example of a social media platform deciding what is acceptable speech. Facebook, Google, Apple and others are doing the same. Some believe it's right, but others are scared that giant digital platforms are effectively becoming the police of the global web with serious ramifications. Now, before we speak to our guests, here is a taste of Alex Jones to help you make up your own mind or form your opinion of what we're going to talk about. Please be warned that he does use strong language. He compares Hillary Clinton and others to demons, so just be careful of children. But we hope that this is ridiculous enough not to be taken seriously. Here is Alex Jones.
A child, corrupt them all.
This is their plan, people. These are demons. Just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said. It's what they warned of. It's what we're dealing with. They're demons. Interdimensional invaders, okay? I'll just say it. Make fun of me all you want on CNN or wherever, but everyone already innately knows this. These people are not frickin' humans, okay? Hillary Clinton is a goddamn demon.
All right, that's Alex Jones, banned permanently for life by Twitter. To discuss, we're joined by the Program Officer at the South Africa Media Innovation Program, Siyabonga Africa. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
What is your view, Alex Jones? Should he have been booted off Twitter?
It's an interesting question, Francis, because, you know, Alex Jones, he's, right-wing commentator, as he calls himself, a bit of a conspiracy theorist. He was the one who started the conspiracy theory about Pizzagate, which was that there was a pedophile ring that was being run by Hillary Clinton, and this led to a gunman basically going to a pizza shop and, threatening the people there.
Sure.
He also claimed that the children who were killed in the Sandy Hook school shootings, this was 2012, he claimed that they were crisis actors, and he's been taking a strong position to say that all these school shootings which happened in the US, which are tragic, are actually campaigns by gun rights activists who are basically trying to influence people. So
the shooting thing that you mentioned previously, I guess it shows that people can spew lies basically, but other people believe it and act on it. It can have serious consequences, life or death.
Definitely, and so it goes back to my point that this is a bit complicated because he has that freedom of speech, but then at the same time he's inciting violence. He's influencing people using disinformation. So him being kicked off those platforms was a tough decision, but one that had to be done by all those platforms. It started with Apple, with their eliminating 6 episodes of his podcast, and then Facebook followed suit, as well as Google and Vimeo. Twitter took a while. Jack Dorsey was actually under the spotlight, for basically holding out on saying, we're going to kick this guy off, and it had to go down to this heckling video that basically broke the camel's back. So
here's the other side, because Jack Dorsey has been criticized for being too quick in the past to suppress freedom of speech. So the other side, I guess, is that it can go too far, and these companies are deciding who can say what.
Exactly, and we have to remember that they're companies at the end of the day, and what they basically make money off of is attention and our data. So of course they want people to be on there. They want to get people's attention. I mean, you look at Donald Trump, who still has his account active, and look at the vitriol that spews out of his account, every single day. So you have to wonder.
And nobody can ban him.
No one can ban him, but you can block him and not see what he says on Twitter, which is a helpful feature. But that's the core of the question: is where's the line? Where do these companies then come in and say, well, since you said this, you no longer are allowed to publish? You have big characters like Alex Jones. You have smaller characters like Unilad, who got kicked unpublished on Facebook because of a video that was of a rap star. You have a local startup here in South Africa who got their video startup basically unpublished because of a story that they did on a marijuana shop in Durban. So you have to ask yourself, okay, who is the arbiter here of what is true, what is
So talking about an arbiter, I mean, traditionally it's been governments who can police speech in their societies. Now we have you're right to say companies, but they cross borders. Some of them are bigger than any nation. Well, they all are, in fact.
Indeed.
So what does that mean for the future of free speech? Where is it actually going?
It's a bit of an existential question, that one. I mean, free speech will always be there. It's just how cognizant we are of what it can do. So with these companies, they have to pay attention to the information that goes out on their platforms. They have to take extra measures to ensure that the information, the stories that are being published, adhere to strict rules.
Yeah.
Right now, as you see in the background, we had Mark Zuckerberg, who was in Capitol Hill, having to account for the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Facebook again was in Capitol Hill this week because they had to basically talk about the 2016 election meddling. So they have to basically say that, we are building we're building in structures, we're building in software and teams that will actually help us monitor in a very nuanced way.
Yeah, and Mark Zuckerberg, in a sense, then becomes the arbiter, him and his team. I remember Facebook was offering a sort of free Wi-Fi to African countries, those Wi-Fi balloons, but then they could control what you see and don't see. So isn't that hard? I mean, it could have given free access to potentially millions, but that comes with a cost. Yeah,
I mean, there's payoffs and trade-offs. The payoff, of course, is people get connected to the web, which is, an enabler. The trade-off is essentially, that the information is now at the mercy of, one company and what it deems to be right or wrong. And so, of course, we have to be, cognizant of that, okay, how many people are on these platforms? Are they getting their news specifically from these platforms and not anywhere else? And then that's where the danger comes in.
Is the answer potentially a lot of different companies? So we try and encourage, like we do with the press, with the traditional media, diversity.
Indeed. So where the press comes in is, of course, they have to be the steady hand, the hand that basically provides, that verified information to make sure that people get the right stories, the right news. So they have to basically, continue to be to continue to do a good job to provide information when it's needed.
And maybe decide between fiction and truth and fiction.
True. I mean, I think, probably the biggest role that's now popping up in newsrooms is the fact-checking role, which, has always been there, but now is growing in importance and in size.
Is that the implications here for traditional media companies? Because you've got the likes of Facebook almost becoming like media companies, deciding what will go out. What does it mean for us?
For us, the press.
Yeah.
It makes things a bit complicated because we want to be where the people are. About 87% of South African internet users are on Facebook. So of course publishers want to be there, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you still have your autonomy. So I'd say don't abandon your platforms, actually own them, because you never know what Facebook will pull tomorrow. They keep changing their newsfeed and the algorithm, and a lot of the times it hurts the publishers. A lot of times it means that publishers who actually provide, verified information get pushed down the ladder and have to make way for other people's views, which tend to not exactly be correct.
So this is so interesting because we, even as SABC, back off YouTube, and it's a great way to send out this interview. Anybody could essentially watch once it's on YouTube, but you're saying don't fully outsource, at least keep your own. We also have SABC digital channel.
Yes. It's imperative for news producers to keep their own platforms. It's a very precarious world in terms of the other platforms, your Facebooks, your Googles, your Twitters, as they are also under scrutiny in terms of the structures that they have in place, and in terms of also having to make sure that they are profitable for their shareholders. So they're playing a dangerous game, and we find ourselves in a position where, if we're left at the mercy of those platforms, where what's next?
Yeah.
What do we do? Where do we fit in?
And are you sympathetic of Jack Dorsey, of these companies trying to balance themselves free speech with, hate speech and abusive speech?
That's an interesting question. Jack Dorsey really tried to push the narrative that Twitter is a place for discussion, debate, and free speech, and that's what a lot of these platforms were saying. But at the same time, we have to look at the negative consequences of that. And so, personally, I believe that it was an inevitable decision, which was the right decision, especially in these trying times when people are, looking to multiple places for their information, and information that will affect, the decisions that they make, who they vote for, what do they do, where do they put their money? You know, those kinds of things.
Siyabonga, before you go, tell us about the South Africa Media Innovation Program. What are you essentially trying to achieve?
So our goal is to accelerate digital innovation in South Africa with a focus on independent media. So we do that through grant funding, through capacity building, through really getting in there and giving support to the small guys who are trying to be innovative in the news space.
Which is nice and allows that diversity that we're talking about. So you don't have to rely on one source for all your news.
True. Maybe we'll fund the next Twitter. Who knows?
All right. Great. I hope you do.
Yes.
Fight us all along. Thank you very much. Program Officer at the South Africa Media Innovation Program, Siyabonga Africa. All right.